Welcome to the Awaken on Purpose podcast, where each week you'll hear inspirational stories of heart-centered leaders who have awakened to their higher purpose and taken that leap of faith to follow their heart and make an impact in the world. Get ready to be enlightened, empowered, and transformed with your host, Jennifer Spohr.
To welcome as a guest to the show today, Eddie Thomason. He was born in Baltimore, Maryland, into a family that has struggled with poverty for generations. Despite his humble beginnings, Eddie rose above his circumstances to become the first student to ever earn a D1 scholarship in the history of Chesapeake High School in Baltimore County. That led to him being the first male in his family to graduate from college when he earned his bachelor's in business from Bryant University. Eddie is a professional speaker with a passion to empower youth and young adults to shed self-limiting beliefs to pursue a life that they're passionate about living. Welcome, Eddie. I'm excited to have this conversation today.
Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Yay, me too. So let's dive right in. What inspired you to pursue the work that you're doing today?
You know, that is a great question. And it all, in my mind, tracks back to one moment. And it was really when I was a sophomore in college, and I was basically coming back to the high school because I just wanted to say what's up to all my teachers and kind of, see everybody. I still got pretty good relationships with a lot of my teachers there. And when I showed up, my athletic director pulled me to the side and said, Eddie, happenstance, we are actually having our spring banquet tonight. Would you be willing to come back and speak? And I was like, Mr. McMahon, I don't really know if you want me to do that. I didn't feel like I had any type of value that I had to offer at that point in time, not because I was afraid to get on stage, but more so I felt as though my own expectation of what I wanted to accomplish has not been accomplished yet. So I was a little hesitant when he first asked. And then he was like, no, man, I think you'll be great. I think the kids will want to love to hear what you have to say, and it'll inspire a lot of them. So, I did a little bit of thinking, basically said, okay, let me go ahead and dive back into this. And usually if you want to do something and it makes you feel uncomfortable, you should do it anyway, because good things will come from it. And what ended up happening is that 20 years old, I remember my athletic director ended up giving me the stage to talk to those the spring athletes of that year. And I don't remember anything I said, to be honest with you, Jen. I have no idea. But however, I do remember the interaction and the excitement that I got after I did that speech. I had kids come up to me and parents come up to me and just say, thank you so much for sharing that. It's amazing that we can have somebody that literally came from our area and is inspiring these kids to understand that they can get out. They're not stuck here. They're not just kind of linked to this individual place, but they can also succeed and do different things that hasn't been done before. And it was because of that interaction, that feedback that I got, it inspired me, because here I am, like I said, initially didn't think I had anything of value to share. And then I just simply got up on stage, I shared my story, and it empowered people. So I was like, man, I would love to do that for the rest of my life. And that's why I got into speaking today. I love being able to help kids and young adults break those self-limiting beliefs so they can pursue a life they're passionate about living.
That is so awesome. And I want to highlight what you had said about initially not seeing or feeling like you had value to offer that would justify you getting up and speaking. That's how it is with so many people. Our purpose often is something that we take for granted as being day to day or like common sense, right? We often just feel that it's something that is just natural for us, but to other people, it's a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's very interesting how sometimes, again, we all do it. It's not just when you're young or whatever. It doesn't matter what age you are. We place these limiting beliefs on ourselves that caps what we're actually able to accomplish. And like you just said, there's sometimes when people see something inside of you, maybe there's a light inside, or there's some type of like value that they see, a skill set, and then you don't see it in yourself yet, but you need somebody sometimes to give you a gentle nudge, or for some of us, a real kick in the butt, so that we can step into that greatness and actually allow ourselves to shine.
Yes, exactly. And what you said about limiting beliefs, I just want to kind of highlight that as well, because we all by default have limited perceptions, right? Because we're all a product of our conditioning and what we're taught, despite our parents, best efforts. It's just how it is with every person. That's kind of like, we know what we know. And so especially when you are forging a new path, it's important more than ever to understand that like 90% of the journey is mindset and faith. And so having that willingness to let go of what you believe to be possible, and to just go for it is just so important.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer that success is 90% attitude and 10% effort. I think the attitude that you have towards whether or not you can be successful, so the same, just building off of that mindset piece that you just shared, you have to develop the attitude of a successful person. You got to, start to think about risk and lean into these uncertainties and the things that you just can't see, you can't control, right? And then, like you said, I love that you said a faith side of it, because faith is huge for me. And if you don't have to believe what I believe, but I give all the honor and the glory to the guy upstairs. And the cool thing is, faith, though, is not necessarily a religious thing, right? It's just a belief in something that's not seen. So you just have to have faith. You have to have that belief that whatever you're working towards, it's coming. You got to speak it every single day. You got to start to have confession cards or affirmation cards, whatever you want to call them, that's speaking into existence what you already have accomplished long before you ever accomplished it. And that's how you start to develop that mindset and that resolve, because your brain doesn't know the difference between a dream and actual fact, like history happening, right? So the more that you can train your brain to understand that, hey, I'm already there, I already accomplished this, I'm already successful, then you start to live that out in action every single day.
Absolutely. It's that belief in that higher power.
Yes.
So whether that's God, source, universe, whatever that is.
Right, exactly.
Listening, it's just having faith in that higher power, absolutely. And what you're talking about in terms of speaking that reality into existence, whether you look at that from a spiritual perspective or a scientific one, everything is energy, and everything that is in our external reality now once started out as like a divinely guided thought or an idea. And then we brought that into reality by anchoring it into physical action.
Right. Exactly. I love that. Anchoring it in the physical action. You guys need to write that down.
Action. Yes. I can talk about this stuff for days.
That is awesome. I'm loving it.
I'm loving it too. So every experience in our lives shapes who we are. What experience in your life do you feel has been most significant in shaping who you've become today?
Wow, that's a great question as well. Man, you're full of great questions, huh? But I would say from me, it was my childhood in itself. So I love to give people, I guess, the context before I give them content. And a story that really shaped me was just my entire childhood. So when you think about in a snapshot, when I was about 7 or 8 years old, my father left, and it forced my mom to take care of me and my brother on a $13,000 a year disability income. So it was definitely different, right? I wouldn't say we were the brokest of the broke, but we definitely wasn't nowhere near rich, right? And I remember my mom talking about always having to rob Peter to pay Paul. She was just struggling to make ends meet. And in my mind, I said, you know what? I'm not going to stay here. I'm not going to get stuck in this one individual way of life, right? I don't want to adopt this poverty mindset or this scarcity mentality. I want to start to create a legacy for my family that's going to stretch beyond generations. And that just the childhood of having a struggle and working since I was 9 years old, selling hats and t-shirts outside of the Orioles and Ravens stadiums, just so I can pay for my different, what do you call those? My school field trips and things like that. Like all that was a part of that journey, and the resolve to say like, okay, when I'm older and when I have kids, when I have a family, I'm not going to have them have to go through those same exact circumstances. They won't have to do what I did in order to get where I'm at. I'm creating a new ceiling so that becomes their floor so that they can pursue a life that they're passionate about living as well. So that was huge for me, man. I mean, a lot of people look at their dad leaving as like this huge negative thing. But for me, I felt like that was the catalyst for me. It was kind of like, man, all right, I got to step up. I got to be older than what I currently am right now. And I got to start kind of taking on more responsibility, and it helped mold me into the man that I am today.
This is another topic that I could talk about for days, because we aren't, in fact, in control of everything around us.
Right.
Which I refer to as fate, right? Like there are some things that we're born into, but
right.
we are empowered to shape our destiny. And you
right.
could have went two very different ways, right? But you chose to take the path that would propel you forward.
Absolutely. That was in my mind, I only had one way, and that was forward, right? I feel like you hear the term all the time, you know, it runs in the family, it runs in the family, it runs in the family. Well, the mindset that I adopted was it ran in the family until it ran into me, right?
I love that.
Like, just, you're not going to keep on telling me that, oh, it's just a part of the family genes or it's a part of our family history. Okay, it could be a part of the history, but that doesn't have to determine my destiny, the direction that I'm headed, right? So for me, it was just that change in mindset of saying, I'm not accepting defeat. I'm going to move forward. And of course, I had amazing people that's in my life. I don't think you do anything in life on your own. Like, I hate the term self-made because I feel as though you literally can't make yourself. You have people around you, whether they shaped you negatively and made you do opposite decisions, or you had positive influences in your life. You just didn't get to where you are alone. And obviously, I had great people in my life, my mom being one of those people, my brother being one of those people. I had multiple teachers that told me I couldn't succeed. And I also had a handful that told me that I can. So I appreciate having some of those people that was in my corner that also backed up my vision and backed up my dream and didn't let me, I guess, sink back into this smaller version of myself.
Our relationships are some of our greatest teachers in life.
Amen.
Yeah. Eddie, what advice do you have for others who are feeling called to do more? Because especially with everything that's going on in the world right now, there are more people out there that are feeling that sense of urgency, wanting to take action to make an impact. What would you tell them to be able to take action today?
Absolutely. I would say just move, man. Like, you're not required to know the entire path as soon as you start. You just have to start. You have to start moving in a direction. I feel as though a lot of us, each and every one of us, have the seeds and greatness that's already inside of us. And a lot of us, we get called to head in a direction all the time, right? Like, and it may come at different points in life. It may come when you're younger, when you're middle age, it doesn't matter. But at some point, I feel as though we all get this pull to do something. And maybe it's something that's uncomfortable. You're thinking to yourself like, nah, I can't do something like that. But it's those instances, I think, that you have to really accept that challenge and lean into it. Get outside your comfort zone, because obviously a lot of what you want to create in life, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, the impact that you'll have on generations to come is outside of your comfort zone. So you have to learn how to get yourself away from this small little thought bubble, right? And the thing is, you have to start. If anything, out of everything I just said, you have to start. You got to move in that direction, because you can try to say like, oh, I'm just gathering knowledge. I'm gathering information. I don't want to make any mistakes, where all that doesn't matter. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. As a matter of fact, you have to go through failure in order to create success. It's not like you have an option of either or, right? But you just have to start. You have to start getting the ball rolling. And then once you do, just continuously make those small positive decisions every single day, and you're going to leave an impact on this world.
Right. Bottom line, and there's a quote from Albert Einstein that often comes to mind for me, and I'm probably not quoting it exactly, but it's like, you know,
put your spin on it.
in order to get different results, you have to take different action. Or he says something to the effect of, you need a different level of consciousness, right?
Right. Yep.
Solve a problem. You can't, use the same thought process that you've always used that got you to where you are now, but it's not going to get you to where you want to be.
Exactly. Yep. It's the definition of insanity, right? The definition of insanity is just doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results.
It really is
how it works.
It really is. And a couple of things from what you said that I'd love to touch on further as well. One is that, there is a period of gathering knowledge, but gathering knowledge isn't actually taking action. I've been in this place myself, and it takes place with so many clients and just people that I know. It's like you can get stuck in a state of becoming. That's what I call it.
Yep.
You have to have that willingness to anchor the knowledge you've acquired or the desires on your heart into physical action.
I agree with you, Jen, 100%, because I actually got a whole section of that inside of my book. It's a whole chapter dedicated to it because of this statement that we hear all the time, which is knowledge is power. I hate that statement because I feel as though there's always been a word missing. Applied knowledge is power. You can accumulate knowledge all you want for the rest of your life, but until you start putting action behind what you know, then it's wasted information inside of your head.
Yes, and we'll include this in the show notes for the listeners, but tell us a little bit about your book, the name of your book, and what value those who read it can expect to receive from it.
Absolutely. So the name of the book is called Unlock Yourself: How to Earn the Success You Were Born to Create. And some of it we already hit on, but the title basically comes from the fact that, again, we're all born with the seeds of greatness inside of us. It's just a matter of where you plant that seed and how you water that seed to nurture it, to see if you actually grow and you create what you want to create in this world. But the book itself is written through an acronym. So it's Unlock Yourself is the title, but the acronym is Unlock You. And it basically goes through an entire roadmap, right? Starting at the beginning with what I call an upshot, which is basically your vision and what that looks like and how you want your life to look, not who do you want to be, but basically the lifestyle that you want to live and how that starts to backwards integrate that into what you need to do in order to create that life. And it basically wraps up with the fact that that process is unending, right? Because once you hit another goal or you get to that part in life or where you want to be, life doesn't end. You never arrive, right? You have to continuously pursue passion, pursue things that you're loving in life. So that unending process is kind of how to wrap it up. And obviously there's a lot of great things that's in between. But those are things that I feel as though people would have to pick up the book for the sake of time to figure out.
Sounds like a fantastic book. Hey, Eddie, how can someone find you? Where's the best place to locate you if they want to connect with you, learn more about what you're up to?
Absolutely. So a lot of my primary social media platform is on LinkedIn. So if you just search Eddie Thomason on LinkedIn, send me a connection request, let me know that you heard about me on Jen's podcast, and most likely you'll definitely get the approval. But outside of that, you can also go to my website. So that's eddiethomason.com. EDDIETHOMASON. Don't put the P in there. Most people call me Thompson, and it's just not right. So you can find me in those individual places. I'm on the other platforms, but if you want an actual response from me, go to those two places first. And I would love to connect with you guys. When I tell people all the time, when I do any type of shows like this, I don't take people's stages for granted. And I let people know that I'm not on a pedestal. Okay. So if you have a question, if you want to just develop a friendship, relationship, whatever it may be, reach out to me and I'll be the one that's actually responding. I don't have a bot or anybody that's doing it for me. So if I can help you, I definitely will. And if I can't, then I'll connect you to somebody in my network who can.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on as a guest today and just for sharing all of your wisdom. I just love our conversation. I could talk to you for a lot longer.
I appreciate that. The feeling is definitely mutual. It's great when you get connected with somebody who is on a similar brain length, right? Because it's just so much information that's there and so much common ground that we can build from.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much, Eddie.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Awake and On Purpose podcast. Please visit us and subscribe to the podcast at awakeandonpurpose.com so you never miss an episode. To learn more about how you can connect with your higher purpose and take that leap of faith to make your impact in the world, visit us at jenniferspor.com. And while you're there, be sure to join our email list for exclusive offers and a weekly dose of inspiration.